So, taking part in the gathering, as I said, we are gathered here, dearly beloved, all of you, to experience our own true nature. And as the sutras say, that's our own true nature, which is empty nature and goes beyond any doctrine. And everything about the forms of this Sesshin, everything about what we're doing together is set up and designed to support that and to support us being awake together, waking up together, experiencing our own true nature together. And that isn't only something a bunch of organizers did before you got here, although a lot of people did do a lot of work to make it happen. But you are an integral part of this thing that has been designed. You are interwoven with it. It's not something that was created for you that you get to experience, that if you're really lucky will come along and bop you on the head and enlighten you. But you are already part of it. Interwoven and not interwoven. And so you are here supporting everybody else who's here, as well as the being you think is you. And there are a couple key ways, a few key ways that you do that. And I would say the most important way is your practice. Okay? And what is that? Well, it's showing up. And I found when I was thinking about this, the thing that you'll hear John's been saying a lot, Master Ma saying, so the meaning of your life is contained in the current matter. And I thought, as that's what we're doing here, is being with the current matter. And the current matter will appear to each person in their own unique way. It may be the way you see images or what you hear. But what I would like to encourage you to do is just keep that in mind. That if you think you're looking for something, and if you think there's something that you need that you don't have, I encourage you to investigate the current matter. What is appearing in your consciousness? What appears before your face? What are you doing? How does your body feel right now? It's really tempting to get away from here and now. And we have all kinds of ways, and most of us, we have ways we'll share, and we have ways that are general and ways that they have our unique flavor for each one of us. And one of the things being in the present moment is about is becoming intimate with the flavor that is yours. The way you're here and the way sometimes you try not to be here. And a really popular way of not being here is to find something wrong. Something's wrong with you, or your parents, or what you're hearing, or somebody else, or the way these people organize this darn thing, or God who's just not chosen you for some reason that you don't understand because you deserve to be enlightened just as much as anybody else, and I'm not sure I am, even though everybody keeps saying I am. So if you notice, if that comes up for you at any point, and you notice that there's a problem, there's something's wrong, you think that's in the way of you and what you came here for, to experience your own true nature. What's coming up there usually is that desire for the self that you know to have some kind of control over what's happening, right? And so, in Gangaji speak, the invitation here is to bear it. When something comes up that you think is a problem and needs to be fixed, or something that you feel like you just can't handle, if you can, try to just be with it. And try to meet it and get to know it, and think maybe there's something about this problem you're not actually already familiar with. You don't already know what it is and what has to happen. It might take care of itself, or you might discover something different about it as you ask questions. Who's having this problem? How does it feel to have this problem? What's it like to be with this problem in my body? What's it like to feel like I have to solve this problem without actually taking action to solve it? We so often, you think we know what we want, we think we know exactly what it will feel like, we think we know what we don't want, but you can question all of those things. When I came down to Santa Sabina a little bit early to talk to them about hanging these tankas, which I'll talk about in a minute, and I said to them, we have these tankas and we'd like to hang them, and so I'd like to talk with you about that, and I think I'll bring them so you see them. And they said, no, we know all about tankas. The group before you had tankas. We've got that set. We can do that. Even when I arrived with them, they were like, no, we know all about tankas. And so I was like, well, okay, but let's take a look at these anyway. And I rolled them out, and they're like, oh, that's not the kind of tankas we were thinking of. They were about the size of those scrolls, which are beautiful, but a different thing. To skip over what's meeting us, what's coming to us, to try to get to the other side. But here, if all of you do that work to investigate the current matter without telling it what it is, just to discover, which means to discover what's a you. That's for everybody here. That's part of the container for all of us waking up. And so that's much appreciated. Everyone, Turtle Mountain awakens. When you awaken, everything awakens. And because this whole process is something bigger and beyond just your mind and your intellect. That's a place that the koans are so helpful. Because as your koans are not something that works on the level of the intellect. So they give you something. If you feel like you have to control something, you have to do something, that's what you do. You just say, koan. I'm going to be with this koan. Where is the koan right now? Koan, you do it for me. Koan, what do you have to say? Where do I feel the koan in my body? We could have every person in this room working on the same koan, and not one of you would be doing exactly the same thing. So don't look to somebody else. They are doing it right, they're doing it a better way. You can only do it your way. And it's really, that's really important. And it's also what's fascinating and beautiful about them. So another thing you can experiment with, again, with this same being with and bearing what's here is if you notice you're starting to do something that, oh yeah, that's what I do, that's my habitual thing when I feel this way. See if you can try not doing that. Just, you don't have to even replace it with something else, just not doing that. And when you go to visit a teacher, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit, again, the most interesting thing is what's happening in that moment. In different ways, you've been told that the title of this retreat is Taking Part in the Gathering, and that is a reference in part to a writing by Shitou who lived in 8th century China. And John brought some of it into the room yesterday, and I'm just going to read the whole thing to you today as another way of bringing it into the room. And we'll be doing that, and I think people will be probably referencing it in many other talks this week. But if they don't, I'm just going to read it. And I found it happened that I picked up a piece of paper, and on it was a quote by Shitou. And it said, "I am not, but the universe is myself. I am not, but the universe is myself." Which is a reflection of his understanding of things. And so this piece, the taking part in the gathering, it was written, I'll just tell you a tiny bit about it. It was written, I can't remember if John said this last night, but as a response in part to some feuding that was going on between different schools of Zen, and the northern and southern school, and the northern and southern and sudden and gradual awakening schools, and it was like, I'm right and you're right and all of that kind of stuff. And this was in a way his response to what he saw that was bigger than that, and that didn't leave anything out. And also in this, one other thing I just want to say is that often we refer to in Zen, again, as John was talking about, the interweaving of form and emptiness or eternity. Often you'll find eternity referred to as the light. But in this piece, he kind of flips it on his head, and eternity is the darkness, the unknowable force, and the light is the world of form. So, taking part in the gathering, Shitou. The mind of the great Indian immortal moves seamlessly between east and west. It's human nature to be quick or slow, but in the way there are no northern or southern ancestors. The mysterious source of the bright is clear and unstained. Branches of light stream from that dark. Trying to control things is only delusion. But hanging on to the absolute isn't enlightenment either. We and everything we perceive are interwoven and not interwoven. And this interweaving continues on and on, while each thing stands in its own place. In the world of form, we differentiate substances and images. In the world of sound, we distinguish music from noise. In the embrace of the dark, good words and bad words are the same. But in the bright, we divide clear speech from confusion. The four elements return to their natures, like a child to the mother. Fire is hot, the winds blow, water is wet, the earth solid, The eye sees form, the ear hears voices, the nose smells fragrance, the tongue tastes salt and sour. Everything, depending on its root, spreads out its leaves. Both roots and branches must return to their origin, and so do respectful and insulting words. The darkness is inside the bright, but don't look only with the eyes of the dark. The brightness is inside the dark, but don't look only through the eyes of the bright. Bright and dark are a pair, like front foot and back foot walking. Each thing by nature has worth, but we notice it is shaped by its circumstances. Things fit together like boxes and lids, while the absolute is like arrows meeting in midair. When you let these words in, you encounter the ancestors. Don't limit yourself to your own small story. If you don't see the way with your own eyes, you won't know the road even as you're walking on it. Walking the way, we're never near or far from it. Deluded, we are cut off from it by mountains and rivers. You who seek the mystery, in daylight or in the shadows of night, don't throw away your time.